Disabilities Consumer Guide Show. I'm Steve Bressler, ADA Coordinator for the town of Brookline, along with Eileen Berger, Chair of the Brookline Commission for the Disabled. Brookline is well known for its high level of services. In particular, the Brookline Recreation Department has a sterling reputation for providing quality programs for persons of all ages. And today we're going to learn about how those programs are being made accessible to persons with disabilities. The success of the Brookline Recreation Department in designing and implementing quality programs is attributable to its staff. And Eileen and I are really pleased today to have with us Lisa Paradise, who's the director of the Brookline Recreation Department. Welcome, Lisa.
Thanks.
Brandon Fitz, who is the Certified Therapeutic Recreation Department Specialist.
That's right.
Welcome, Brandon.
Thank you.
And Melissa Petit, who's the Assistant Director of the Brookline Recreation Department. And welcome to you.
Thank you.
Yes, we really are so pleased to have you here today, and we've got so much to talk about. We're going to ask you some questions, just some leading questions, because you have plenty to tell us about what's going on in Brookline for people with disabilities. We're three categories: facilities, programs and services, and any other support networks for people who have disabilities in Brookline. Brandon's going to tell us a lot about his position, which is and programs. So our first question might be, what kind of accommodations do you offer through the Brookline Recreation Department for individuals living with disabilities in Brookline? That's a broad question. So either one of you, Lisa, Brandon, Melissa, whoever wants to jump in.
Sure. So as far as accommodations in Brookline, in the Brookline Recreation Department actually has a number of facilities across town. Some of the highlights, we have a preschool, a pool, we have a golf course, amongst other programs that happen. And at the various sites, we have some accommodations, aside from just the standard universal access, things that are listed in the ADA. At our skating rink, we actually have a skate sled, which is available to individuals who may be wheelchair users or may have impaired functioning of their legs or lower limbs. It actually allows the user to sit down and skate while pushing with two sort of hockey stick type apparatuses. And we also have blue skate aids, which are sort of, people call them milk crates or something, is what they used to use, but you can actually hold on to them and it supports an individual while they're skating.
Is this for both for children, early childhood, on up through adulthood?
Absolutely. Across all the programs we do, it actually starts at a young age all the way up to as old as you can be when participating in a program. But yeah, anyone of all ages can utilize these tools and equipment. So, and then we also have a pool, which I don't know if you'd like to speak about the accommodations at the pool.
Sure. So the Corain Aquatic Center is the first indoor swimming pool in the United States, which is a fantastic resource in town and lends itself to the history of recreation services in Brookline. But with that, the historic building can also be challenging in terms of making some changes just by the way it was built. So we have, over the years, made the ADA changes to the physical pieces, and then now what we're doing is we're phasing in all of, once these participants and community members are actually in the building, how can we have them have a great experience getting in and out of the pool like any other community member. So we do have a lift that would allow the participant to get in and out of the pool, and recent regulations are changing that we're now going to have brand new lifts at each of the three pools, because we have a lap pool, which is 6 lanes, we have a lesson pool, which is kept at a warmer degrees for young children, elderly, therapeutic, and it's shallow water, and we have the diving well. So community members will be able to access those pools independently without any assistance from staff or family members if they choose. Last year we added a family changing room, which has been very popular amongst all community members, but in particular the families where they needed some privacy, they needed some extra time, some extra assistance, so they have a space where they can do that and have multiple family members together in one space, especially when it was a gender-related issue. So the pool also has lots of services, and that's where we offer many of our programs, which we'll talk about a little bit later.
When people use these facilities, say the lift, would they have to get in touch with you beforehand, or can they just come in and, you know, with a family member or a friend and just expect that the lift would be accessible to them?
They can come in at that time during public swim time, and they would be able to use that during any of our public swim hours. That's correct.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
So the lift can be operated by whom?
The new ones that are going to be installed within the next 4 to 6 weeks as part of the new lift regulations for the aquatic centers will be completely independent. They wouldn't need, it comes with a remote. You can get in and out on your own. You wouldn't need any assistance.
You don't need staff or an aide
unless
or
they ask for it,
okay.
they can certainly ask for assistance and we can provide that support. But the intention was that this would provide complete independence for the swimmer.
Oh, that's great.
That is wonderful.
Yeah, it's fantastic. And so in addition to that, for other facilities, we also have a fleet of vehicles in our department where we lease a school bus. We have some 12-passenger vans and a minibus, and one of our 12-passenger vans has the lift. So if someone was using a wheelchair and was coming on our trips that we were providing transportation, then they would be able to use the same means of transportation as any of the other members participating.
Lisa, the Recreation Department has facilities all over the town. Can you give us, Melissa and Brandon just spoke about the pool and the ice rink. Where are these facilities located for someone who might be new to the town?
So the golf course is actually in South Brookline, off of it was formerly called the Putterham Golf Course, and it's now renamed the Robert T. Lynch Municipal Golf Course, and it's a wonderful place. It abuts another golf course as well. And then we have our Sewell Rec Center, which is off of Hammond Street on the South Brookline side of Brookline. The pool is located on Tappan Street, and it's part of the high school complex, but it's independent. It functions independently of the high school. And then our rink is in the historic Lars Anderson Park, which is a 65-acre park that's also in South Brookline, and it's at the top of the park with a gorgeous view of the Boston skyline. I might say it's pretty much. I wouldn't say it's a hidden jewel anymore because so many people know about it now, and we're really quite packed in a good way in all of our public skating. During all of our public skating times, so it's a pretty special place to have in a community. In our Elliott Recreation Center is our admin center plus our after-school program, and it's located on Elliott Street and in the middle of a park called Warren Park. So.
What about, are there activities at the new Skyline Park?
You know, there are activities there, but that's a synthetic field, and typically that is an athletically oriented field, meaning that we permit that field out to school use and then other user groups. Rec soccer, actually, I'm sorry, the travel soccer club, Brookline Youth Soccer, plays there, as does all of the high school and school teams. There is a nice shelter there and a beautiful playground at Skyline, and again, that's a wonderful facility and fully accessible as well.
Wow, there are just so many opportunities for citizens of Brookline and other communities to come and enjoy here, and the programs you provide are amazing. So what about those programs, the sports programs, social activities, all kinds of things? So I don't know where you folks want to start, but we could be here for hours talking about them.
Right. I think in terms of our programs, you know, we would, I think, confidently say that if someone called and wanted to join a program, we would do everything we could to make that program available to every child or adult in the community. I think some of our programs now, with Brandon being on board for about a year and a half and focusing 100% on it, some of our programs are a lot more accessible than others just by nature. They're created that way. But I think one of the programs that we've been working on for quite a number of years, and that we probably feel really strongly that is probably one of the proudest programs, is our summer camp program. I would say is servicing the largest amount of kindergarten through 8th grade students in town that have an identified disability. And what we've done is we've created this really robust partnership with the school department and children who are on an extended school year program, which requires them to have support during the summer. Are located at the same campus as our camp now. They're with their other friends from school, and they're participating in joining our activity when their school academic piece ends. So they're having a full day of camp. They're going to the swimming pool. They're going on field trips. They're having lunch with their friends, and it's really built a sense of community and has led to the growth of our school year programs by using that as sort of our springboard.
Now, can parents whose children aren't involved in the extended school year, can they access any of this, this program?
Absolutely. So they would register for the full day program as any community member. And when they register, we ask all participants if there's any special accommodations, any allergies, all of the typical questions we would ask. And at that point, based on what they answer, Brandon would step in and set up all the support needed for full day or half day when those children join us. But I would say the summer camp was our springboard into being able to create these school year programs and support for ongoing year-round programs.
Well, this is so interesting, the recreation therapy. I don't think many other communities have this to offer people, so we'd love to hear some more about that.
Yeah, it's absolutely a growing trend amongst recreation departments in the community, especially here in Massachusetts. There are a few of us spread across the state, but recreation therapy has been around really since the 1980s. We have a credential, the CTRS, which is the Certified Therapeutic Recreation Specialist credential. It requires 4 years of college, tons of field work, a full invested internship, and you, at the end of it, take an exam, and if you pass the exam, you get the credential. And some states require licensure, others don't. Massachusetts is not one of them. And so it really allows people to practice and have a higher skill level as far as, moving beyond just inclusive recreation to actually doing therapeutic recreation. It's really exciting, and it allows me, especially here in Brookline, in the community, to have the flexibility to, do those programs that maybe the outcome is more just to have fun and, enjoy, and there are some intangible benefits that come with that, but also to really buckle down and meet with some individuals on a one-on-one basis or in a group basis and have some more, focused therapeutic outcomes as the goal of that group in the recreation.
Well, can you give us a really close-up idea of what you're referring to? In other words, one of your proudest moments or your proudest programs?
Absolutely. I actually came to Brookline about a year and a half ago. And when I first came here, I was trying to figure out what the needs were of the individuals in the community, and I really found that there was kind of a gap in service for adults living with disabilities in the community. They were being serviced through Special Olympics sports, which we'll get to in a few moments. But as far as getting out and navigating the T, which is a great mode of transportation that we have here in Brookline, there was nothing really being offered. So I created a young adults group called Forever Young. We meet every other Thursday at a restaurant in the community, and we work on things such as ordering off of the menu, which can be hard, especially for individuals with traumatic brain injuries and other impairments. And I always have an activity plan, we have dinner, have good conversation, and it really gives adults the ability to network with each other and sort of gain something from it. One of my favorite stories, as a result of this group, we had two young gentlemen that were about 23, 24 years of age. They actually both met were reunited at this Forever Young group. They went to school together when they were younger, lost communication, came back together, and as a result, about a year later of coming to the group with additional services, they actually moved in together and are living independently in a community in the Brookline area. And they come out to the program all the time and have friends over and are always doing something. I think they're busier than I am most of the time. So
that's a great
yeah, it's great. It's great.
You have to get them to volunteer.
I know.
To do one of your programs.
They're always active doing something, so they're always around helping out.
That is great.
Brandon, you have a brochure, right?
Absolutely.
That folks can get, and it's on the screen right now. Recreation therapy, what's inside this brochure?
Sure. So inside the recreation therapy brochure, which can be found at www.brooklinerec.com, it really outlines the scope of services within the program. It sort of gives a background on what recreation therapy is and why it's so important here in the community. But it lists ways that individuals can volunteer with recreation therapy, ways to support. We largely run off donations, especially for Special Olympics. Sort of touches on advocacy for individuals. You know, aside from running direct programming, I do sometimes act as a liaison to talk to different organizations and communities to advocate for individuals. And then it sort of just outlines the scope of services that we have here, everything from Zumba to golf clinics to Special Olympics and the Adult Forever Young group we just spoke about, and more. It's a really a wide array of surveys the entire program in the division.
You know, I believe we have some photographs of different scenes from different activities in the Recreation Department. Maybe we can get some of those on screen and you can tell us what we're looking at.
Absolutely, that would be fantastic.
Yeah.
We'll have to pull them up here in a second.
Okay, there's one right there.
Yeah, so this is actually a really special event that happened. My friend shown on the left in the vest, his name is Lucas, and he's actually a certified recreation therapist out of the Soldiers' Home in Chelsea, Massachusetts. And he brought his veterans, who are all Vietnam War veterans and World War II veterans, to the Putterham Golf Course to do a clinic at no cost of their own. And we got these guys out here. You can see they're all wheelchair users. We got some of them standing up and getting some physical exercise, and they all left just smiles from ear to ear saying that they loved it. They're all golfers in the past, and they haven't been able to do it in a long time. And we were able to provide them an opportunity to get out of the Soldiers' Home and come to our golf course. Every other Friday night throughout the year, we have a teen outing program called On the Town, and we go to various places in and around the Boston area. This particular night, we were at Rock Spot Climbing in Dedham, Massachusetts, and we took a bunch of teens from Brookline High School rock climbing for the evening, and it worked out. It was an awesome trip. This was actually Special Olympics flag football at Gillette Stadium. We got the opportunity to play on the Patriots' home field down at Gillette Stadium for the Special Olympics tournament. So you can see here our guys are in blue, and we are playing. You can see the Patriots end zone right there, and we're playing a game right in the midst of it all. And it was a really special day. This is actually, again, part of our On the Town program at the Boston Museum of Science. Testing out some of the scientific, experiments before we went to go see a planetarium show for the evening. This was on our trip to the South Shore Plaza for On the Town again, and we actually went to the mall around, around the holidays time, and gave these guys an opportunity to bring some spending money and buy some gifts for their family members, and kind of go out and do some shopping on their own. So. It's we're all over the place. We have stuff going on all the time.
These are wonderful programs. Lisa, how did this come to be? How did we get into this particular focus?
Yeah, I think that's such a great and huge question to answer. And I just, I have to say that this was a dream of this department, and specifically Melissa. I've been the director here for 5 years. Melissa's been with the department for almost 20, I want to say.
Almost.
She's not that old.
Right.
Yes, and she was my son's supervisor when he was in high school.
But it's been a dream of the department to bring to the forefront some of the things that we were already addressing, but really in a minimal way. And we felt that while we were accessible in all of our facilities and programs, we really weren't providing the best kind of services that we could to people with some special needs. And you know, we are incredibly lucky, and I just want to address that too to the people out there who are taxpayers and who support our department. It's an amazing thing to be a director of a department that is the beneficiary of so much support from the town, and especially for a program like this, where Brandon's position is supported solely by tax dollars, and we're able to bring this to the community. It's just an incredible thing. This does not happen in a lot of places where other budgets are being cut for a whole host of reasons out there. Brookline doesn't do that. They see the real benefit of having this kind of thing in a community, and we're lucky to be able to show the community what we can do and provide these kinds of services. But it's just an incredible thing, and I want to go back to the part of how this came about. And you know, it was a dream of the department, and specifically Melissa spearheading this. So probably a couple of years into my being here as the director, we really started to put some numbers together and started sort of pulling this through the sometimes lengthy budget process that it takes to get a new
program
staff person on. Yeah, because it is a big deal for a community to do this, especially when this is not necessarily a position or a program that takes in a lot of money to actually kind of offset. We do definitely take in money from this program, but certainly not to offset the cost of having somebody on full time. So really it was a buy-in from the town. So we started to do that, and you know, it was an amazing thing to go through advisory and the selectmen and the Park and Rec Commission as well, because we never hit a roadblock, and that just doesn't happen in municipalities. I don't care where you are and how much money a community has or resources they have, but this proved to be an amazing experience and just really supportive. To the point where on town meeting floor, this position was brought up as an incredible benefit to the town. So we felt just validated and justified in our dream of having this come here. So it's really about, you know, a vision that Melissa had for many years, and sort of pulling everything together. Presenting it to the community, and the community being what it is. The Brookline community is an amazing community. The people who are elected officials and the people who are on advisory are an incredible bunch of people that really were supportive of this. So
well, certainly those of us who work with the disability community are really happy that the Recreation Department is so inclusive. And is paying this much attention.
Yes, it's an extraordinary program. It really is. It's a model program, I'm sure. It sounds like, Brandon, that you do the work of much more than one person. I have a feeling we're going to be hearing in town meeting about, you know, adding to this program over the years, because it benefits everyone.
Right.
Absolutely everyone, and there isn't anyone who isn't touched at some point in their life by disability. And it's important to include everyone, but also to recognize that, you know, they have equal access, but to recognize that they should be enjoying all the fruits of what we have to offer in a beautiful town like Brookline. And we're all, so many of us are volunteers all the time. We are just so devoted and committed to having this happen. So we are very, very blessed to have the really amazing administrative staff in the town, and we really, really appreciate all your work. But we want to hear more about it.
Yeah.
I think we're going to have you back at some other point to have some of these things in
Do you
detail.
need volunteers to work with you? Eileen mentioned staff,
Absolutely.
and Lisa's mentioned staff, but what about volunteers?
Sure. Yeah, you know, a lot of my programs are driven by volunteers. At Special Olympics, you know, currently we're in the middle of basketball season, and we probably have about 30 to 35 volunteers helping out every single Saturday. So if someone is looking to volunteer, they can go to brooklinerec.com, and there's a rec therapy tab on there. My contact info is there. They can either call the department directly, send me an email, or come in and visit us at Elliott Street, and we'd be happy to set them up with something. We're always looking for volunteers.
Whoa.
Incredible, huh?
Really. I know before we started the show, we were talking about the Special Olympics and the projects you have there. If you could sort of briefly give people an idea of how you work with Special Olympics.
Sure. So Brookline is actually a recognized chapter of Special Olympics Massachusetts. We run 5 sport programs throughout the year. We do basketball in the winter, aquatics and track and field in the spring, softball in the summer, and flag football in the fall season. We have about 100 athletes and about 50 volunteers and coaches that are all donating their time and love doing it. And you'll notice that a lot of the coaches will volunteer from season to season just because they love doing it, and they make good friends. One of my favorite memories, and we always then practice no matter what sport it's in as a group, and you start to hear athletes talking about the sports and each other as family and family members, and you start to hear about town saying, hey, we're family, you know, we're looking out for each other, we'll help you get to practice, we'll help you do this, and it's just a really positive environment. And no matter what your skill level is, you know, whether or not you're good enough to play on a high school team or whether or not this is your first time and you don't know the ins and outs of the sport, there's something for you. And my favorite thing across all programs about being a rec therapist is being able to say yes to people when they hear no so many times.
Yeah. Well, who can come to these events? Can they just show up, or do they need to sign up for a certain amount of time?
Sure. A lot of the programs require pre-registration, so calling us or going to, again, the website is the best way to do it. But for Special Olympics, it is of no cost to anyone to do the program. We fundraise throughout the year for it. And I urge people just to contact me ahead of time so that way I'm aware of them coming. And for the most part, people do contact me, and that way we can kind of introduce them. I know they're coming, and you know, set them up with people in their similar age group or of their skill level, so that way they have a positive experience.
Well, with that many people coming every Saturday, how do you divide up the groups?
Sure.
And, you know, age level, competence level,
right,
mobility?
So in basketball is by far our biggest season. This year we're making 5 teams. So the first couple practices, I know, it is a little overwhelming in a great way. It's a good problem to have too many people show up. We practice at Boston College. They're really great and house us every Saturday. And we take the number of athletes. We usually rotate stations in the beginning. We have all of our coaches kind of run those stations, and we end up scrimmaging at the end of practice. And we really go through and we look at age levels, ability levels, and on paper back, you know, during the week, I kind of go through and say, okay, this is where this person belongs. And it really comes down to knowing the people on an individual basis, which I'm proud to say I really do, and the coaches really know them as well.
And Melissa, wasn't there a special event coming up with the Special Olympics group with the Celtics?
There is. We've been invited to participate in Special Olympics night at one of the upcoming Celtics games, and we're rolling out the details now. But there's the opportunity for some of our athletes to participate in the halftime festivities, which is a great honor for our team. And I would have to say, including this show, we're still doing grassroots, and we do feel so proud about everything that's going on. But you know, we're doing a lot of outreach and awareness, and there's so many people in the community that still don't know that we are providing this service and what an elevated support we have now, and that Brandon's here to help them. So we really are encouraging anyone in town that knows someone who lives in the Brookline area, because non-residents can come, to just give us a call and let us know that you're there, and we'll put you on our list, and then you can choose from our menu of, you know, from preschool to seniors, what will fit for your family.
Well, I tell you, believe it or not, we are out of time. It's amazing how quickly this goes. Yeah. I think Brookline is very fortunate to have the 3 of you here. You're doing amazing things, and as a resident of the town, I got to tell you, I'm really impressed. Yeah. Lisa, Director of Recreation, Brandon, Recreation Therapist, Melissa, Assistant Director of the Recreation Department, thank you so much for being on the show today. I think, Eileen, we could have enough material for another show with the Recreation Department.
I think so. Yeah. I think so. And the more people hear about it, hopefully the more they'll access your programs. And we're just thrilled to have you. And we're so proud as residents of Brookline to have such a wonderful staff with such a great and devoted and committed work that you're doing for everybody in town, and including all of our our people with disabilities. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you for
Thank you
having us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you for watching the Disabilities Consumer Guide Show. See you next time.
See you next time.